Alright, what's up, guys? I'm a little under the weather, but we're still going to have a good time together. So I have a couple of lists that we're going to play. We are not going to play Bravo. Not in LL, unfortunately. Unless you're talking about Starvo, we can do Starvo. But if you're talking about OG Bravo, unfortunately, he is not the answer. He can't compete in CC, so we're not going to try in LL, unfortunately. Especially when our Starstrucks and Crippling Crushes are limited to 1 copies. So, anyway, back to this. So, there's a couple lists here. Let me turn this music down so I don't distract myself. There's a couple lists here. So, we have this Oldhim list and this Starvo list. Okay, I pulled these just for complete transparency. These are the list that were on the battle hardened from the PT, right? So this stuff here. So Kano won that battle hardened. Of course, like both of these Guardians are going to have a little bit of a hard time. Actually, Starvo is not terrible into that. Like, you got your AB3 and you got your like evasion with your hero power and whatnot. For Oldhim, it's like literally impossible, basically. I guess you got like Oasis. You can maybe get there, but it's like super unlikely. Does he have Lantern? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I took these lists. So this Oldhim list here. So if you guys ever, just are curious about seeing lists, like the best lists are on the main website. So just go check it out, right? But yeah, this list, and then where was the other one? Star of the show here, played by Vespa. So this is a more aggressive style of Starvo, and it makes sense to lean towards this variation considering the format, right? For Oldhim, this is more of an attack on what it is good in this meta, right? So it's interesting, and I really like the way this deck has like shaped out. Because if you look at it, you have balance, you have tech plating, you have tunic, and you have your crown of seats and whatnot. It actually does make a lot of sense to do that in this way. I don't have any matchup buttons, but we can do one, for example. So Zen is like the new hotness, of course, right? So when you're playing against Zen, it's actually kind of genius how Vespa put this together, right? So I assume this is the case. This is what makes sense to me, but you play your balance of justice into them. Same thing with like KO and whatnot. Am I coming to Georgia on Saturday? I am hoping so, as long as this is all just like allergies and whatnot. I'm not going to risk anybody getting sick if I do start to like come down with like a little cold or something like that. But yeah, the intention is to go, but I'm going to do it with complete assurance that I am not going to bring something to everybody and get everybody sick. But yeah, so the way this deck is set, so it looks like I would play tech plating and balance of justice, because these kind of go hand in hand. I kind of see these as a pair in a sense, right? Because you want to play these things like your endless winners and your choke slam. For those of you who are newer to Flesh and Blood and haven't seen the old man, this is a guy that I'm pretty fond of. Let me zoom in so you can kind of see a little bit better. So Essence of Earth and Ice, we're starting to go back to Rosetta, so this is going to be kind of like a homecoming in that sense. No ice though, but once per turn defense reaction, pay 3. If an Earth card is pitched this way, prevent the next 2 damage. That would be dealt to Oldhim this turn. If an Ice card was pitched this way, the attacking hero puts a card from their hand on top of their deck. This is important. The Ice one is the good one. They're both good, but the Ice one is good in this specific style of meta because you were able to take out the cards of the exponential value deck, right? So Zen, the more cards they have, the more damage they can output. And we want to stop that. So we can do that with this, and we can do that with blizzards and whatnot. They do have blues, of course, but hypothermia, not as good as you would think. It does stop the bonds line, but other than that, this is just like a staple one-up that's really good against Runeblade and Lexi and whatnot, right? So he played Oldhim at your LGS for LL, and he felt so nice to play. He actually feels pretty good. So one way that you can think about this, and we talked about this in our team Discord, and Taylor put this pretty brilliantly in my opinion, is let me see the exact words he said. So he's thinking that the LL format is going to be a triangle meta for Chicago, and it will be triangle 1 is prisms, right? The vertex of that triangle is Prism, and then it's going to be the aggro deck, so that'll be Zen and Briar, because we're going to see a lot of new Earth and Lightning cards, which will make Briar Ideally a little bit better, right? And then you're going to have your control aspect here, and that's going to be your ice heroes. So that's going to be Icelander and Oldhim. Of course, we have Lexi somewhere there sprinkled in your Kanos and whatnot. But like both Prisms, let me clarify that it's not just the young or the old. Or I say young and old. I'm sorry. The old and the newer one is the better way to put it. And then Starvo kind of fits like wherever you want to wedge him in, depending on how you build him. So he's like one of the more tech cards or tech heroes. And with the new cards, he might get something that's very versatile for him as well. Like Felling of the Crown could be very good. It's just how do you get your first Earth card in your Banish? And how do you consistently make Felling of the Crown with the Decompose aspect a little more consistent, right? Because that card is very strong as a 2-card play. But Starvo is one of those decks where you want to keep 3 cards in your hand to be able to use your ability, right? So that's kind of the balancing act. Like, could it be good? Yes. Is it inherently something that they want to play? I don't know yet. But okay, back to this. So I'll talk a little bit about Oldhim just because I really like Oldhim in general. So excuse me, this is more of like a mid-range aspect of this deck. So you're playing your Choke Slams and your Endless Winners. Love this card, always been a great card. This has an on hit, just period, right? So if it hits until the end of their next turn, whenever they activate an ability, create a Frostbite token under their control. So any hero who might use like abilities on their armor, for instance, right? So Grasp of the Arcanite, they get a Frostbite. Or let's see. Voltaire is a good option as well. I believe it's been a while since I played with this, but I believe this gives Frostbites anytime they activate Voltaire or a bow or something along those lines. It's very good. And then when it's fused, whenever they defend with cards, any of the number of cards that they defend with, they get that many Frostbites. So it's just a really good opening play. And it's pretty good in the mid game just as a 2-card 8 with some relevant on hit, right? Everybody knows what Chokeslam is at this point. It's a very good card in all these exponential damage decks or against those, right? Command and Conquer and Pummel, those pairs, Spinal Crush is a staple. Then we have our blues here, our generic blues. All the staple blues that we play in Guardian. The biggest power being Thunderquake, Macho, Glacial, and Cranial. One note is we have more 8s with Oldhim because of this elemental card here. It's just Fuse, Gain, Dominate. Chokeslam because it has relevant text, and then Disable because it has relevant disruption text. The other two, Debilitate and Buckling Blow, you don't necessarily need in this because you want to play these other ice cards and whatnot, right? Ice and Earth. So Autumn's Touch is the only other Earth card here. We don't really have any others. It's just mainly this and then the Pulse. One key note. You pitch this, you get both abilities of Oldhim, for those of you who haven't seen it in a while, just as a little reminder. So if we're playing against Zen, let's go ahead and talk about what we're adding here. What makes sense is, of course, we're going to play some Weakest Links, right? We're going to play Weakest Links, and I believe it makes the most sense to go ahead and play your Fates and your Sinks, and then you're up to 60. You're done. This is it. Good deck, right? Oldhim is very fun. Very fun. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people want to see Oldhim, so we'll probably lean into that and get some games going. Some of the other stuff is like Oasis might be able to get us there against Kano if we're lucky. It's mainly there to kind of combat Rosetta Thorn. So if you haven't seen this in a while too, so it says prevent the next word damage that will be dealt to target hero this turn by a source of your choice. Everybody knows what Oasis is at this point. The Rosetta Thorn is a split damage, 2 physical, 2 arcane. If you target Rosetta Thorn, almost said stone, it stops all of it, right? So this is just a good catch-all, especially in game. It's very strong. And then playing Rampart with your Crown of Seeds against those kind of decks with your Norrin Boots, very strong. Sledge is there for kind of like your slower matchups. You play the Mirror, you play against Starvo, you might want to play this. There is argument to playing Stalagmite against Starvo. I'm not really sure what Vespa chose in that aspect, but generally you want to play Crown of Seeds. So it kind of makes sense to play something like Sledge, and then your Glacial Footsteps just to have some extra beaters, right? Then you got your one Staunch Response. This is good against the Starvos and the Guardians and whatnot. just strong. And then a little bit of go again. There's only 3, so I don't think this deck is going to be that good against Prism. Honestly, I think this deck just kind of loses to Prism, unfortunately, but it's a good counter to like the massive Zens that are around. What's up, Tyler? Okay, let's talk about Starvo real quick, just in case you guys want to see that as well, and we can kind of flip-flop between that. But this Starvo list is the Vespa list here. So we have 3 AB, we have the normal stock Guardian stuff, and then we have time skippers for when we're playing against Prism, right? Makes sense so far. Luckily, there is no like restriction on Autumn's Touch, so we just get to play the best Earth cards here. For the consistency, you get Crush the Weak, and you're kind of being more aggressively disruptive with this style of deck, whereas this is more of a reactionary style of deck where you're playing your mid-range like 2-card 8s and your ice reacts and whatnot. This deck is like, hey, I want to hit them back hard. I've had a little bit of little struggle like trying to figure out the proper boarding for this, so I have a couple of pieces here. So if we were to play against Zen, for instance, let's talk about what we would pretty much kind of do there. Of course, we want to play across the week. I think you want to board out Evergreen and maybe 1 Pulverize or 2, depending on the situation, and then you want to board out Blinks. It's a no block, right? So this is kind of like back to the olden days, right? And I was able to find like my 2022 notes on my phone where I had some like sideboard options here. So let's see. So against like Viscerai, I was siding out Pulverize and Staunches and the Awakenings and whatnot, just because like they weren't super consistent against that style of deck, but it was like a hybrid OTK. If we think about it against something like Briar, which is more aggressive style, we're siding out the Staunches and Evergreen and Exposed in that list. The 3 Blinks is the big thing, and then the Pummels. So this deck, one note is that there is no Pummel in this deck, whereas there is Pummel in this style of deck. So this, again, this is mid-range disruption. This is more aggressive, right? But against Zen, we definitely want to be playing our things like Blizzard. We're already cutting some of the no blocks here, and this is just like, you know, extra beaters for the decks where we need to be a little bit more extra, right? Been seeing you play Oldhim on Talishar. We played a couple of games. Have we? I played a little bit of Oldhim. I don't get the opportunity to play that much. I've been playing more CC lately because I have a tournament coming up. But yeah, so more than happy to play some LL. It's just a fun format, you know. It's really good. So against Zen, of course, we're not playing this Arcane Barrier in here, so we're playing our stock list here. Only another note is we only play Stalagmite. Some of the older lists that we used to play, Starvo wise, was playing Rampart as well, and then playing some more of the big D reacts. This list is not doing that. Okay. Thought he was gonna say Dota 3. Playing some Dota 3. We could play some Dota 3. You guys want to play some Dota 3? Also known as the game that we can't talk about. So I think in this style of list, you want to, like, against Zen, you want to play as many ice cards as possible. You want to keep your consistency a little bit higher. This is the thing here, is like these lightning surges, this is kind of where it gets a little fuzzy, right? So like we could cut some of these lightning surges because we don't need this like just abundance of lightning, but when we cut Blink, if you look at this here, you can kind of look at your stats on what's going on. For Zen, we can look at these, the talent pie here, right? So we have 18, 14, 17. So we're getting a little bit low on our consistency that we are going to be, on average, seeing the same amount of cards, right? So I guess the only other thing that we could do is, I think it makes sense to cut Warmongers, because this card doesn't really do anything. It is a 3-block, but you use burner accounts. It was KO versus Oldhim. Fair. Did you win? You probably won, right? That's why I didn't recognize you. But yeah, so let's see. Honestly, this is probably the way Vespa boarded, if I had to guess. Like, The Pulverize on hit doesn't really do a whole lot. Awakening to go get some other stuff is good, but if you draw this at the wrong time and you're high rolling, then this card is like actually just dead, right? So I could see this being the board out variation. And there are a lot of blues in this deck, so we only go down to 38, right? So I think this is what I'll try if we find a Zen and we decide to play this list. So this is kind of what I would do with this deck. And this is definitely what I would do with this deck, is just play the Sync Blows and whatnot. There's really no reason to play Rousing Ancients or Glacial and whatnot. What are the other decks? Let's talk about Prism here. See what we can do against Prism. And we'll just do the pie for the most part. You did cast Bones Broken, that's fair. That's fair. And not to mention, you're like one of the most goated players ever, right? So it makes sense that you would have got me. Okay, so we're looking at Prism, right? So against Prism, we want to play Weakest Link, Rousing Ancients, and Glacial Footsteps. This deck is so streamlined. It's so good because you just like take out all these defensive cards and here you are. This is your Prism plan, right? And you can like maybe still get there. You don't have like your you don't have like the time skippers or plays like that, which is fine. It's a little concerning, but this probably will give them a little bit of struggle. If they're not used to playing the matchup, then maybe you can still win here or there. But Luminaris is broken, and if they double aura you constantly, then it's going to be hard regardless. Okay, so Norune, Stalagmite. I've played this in the past against Prism. I do believe this is probably a little bit better than some of the other ones, or the Rampart, just because you can snuff out a turn, like a big turn, if they don't play around the Frostbite. So that's kind of the idea here. So this is kind of what I would do against Prism. Very likely to be like a 30-70 style matchup, maybe even worse, but you have a chance, especially if you kind of high roll. And Endless Winter is a really good card here. Obviously Oakenold is pretty broken. Weakest Link, if you can catch them off guard, they don't have like the resources that they want to play type thing, right? It's interesting to see a Starvo list without Concuss. I'm honestly happy about it because when I experimented with the heavy hitters cards, I felt disappointed with it. Yeah, I've heard about the Concuss tech and I haven't played it myself, and that did excite me to an extent, right? But it's just like there's a huge value to having high consistency in your deck, and these cards here, like Crush the Weak, is just a little more tailored for this meta. Right. So, okay, let's go to Prism. This one was a little bit harder for me to find the proper board plan, personally, because, like, in general, if you board out, like, the Evergreens and whatnot, and you keep things like Lightning Surge so you can clear out some of their stuff, right? You're starting to cut some of these poppers, and you're, like, losing this balance that you really need. So, it's obvious that you kind of want to take out, like, the Warmongers, I would think. Could be wrong, but Sink Below, you don't want that. Evergreen, I think you probably do want to keep Evergreen. You have to keep Blink. Blink is like super strong against Prism. Some of the older lists, like back when he was CC legal, played Lead the Charge Blue, and that was huge at like being able to clear out the Prism stuff. So maybe we can look at doing that again at a later state of the game. But I think it's just so aggro heavy that you have to play this kind of style if you're playing Bravo. But Crush the Weak doesn't really do a whole lot against them. That's a pretty easy cut in my opinion. And then I could see cutting maybe like the 2 Lightning Surges and a Pulverize. And this feels pretty strong to me. You're at 42 blues, so you have like very high consistency for your time skippers turns. You have very high consistency on like being able to play something like a Heaven's Claw with a Blink, or playing a Flash with like a Autumn's Touch, and then attacking with your hammer. Like there's just a lot of flexibility here by doing this. But when we look at the stats here, we're at 16 poppers. This is really low for what we're generally used to seeing for a Guardian deck, right? We look at the default matchup, there's only 20 in this, right? So yeah, it's just because of the way that the deck is constructed, your blues are your fuse rate cards, right? There's not a single blue here that is a popper, which used to be you would play Machos and Glacials and whatnot. And Cranial Crush might even be good here too. We had talked about that in the past, like between the team, about like the different variations that you can play with Starvo, right? But I think this is what I would kind of go with, this Prism here. More than happy to send these lists and like kind of my iterations on what I would do against these matchups. So Prism, let's talk about, so we already did Zen. This will be like our aggro variant. If we play against Briar, this will likely be very similar to the same. We would play Warmongers instead of one of these other cards, maybe cutting a Polar Blast or something along those lines, right? And then adding a Null Rune, okay? So the last one is the control variants, right? So we'll just make a control point here. Control. And if we're playing against like another Guardian, right? That's kind of the vibe we're getting here. We don't want Crush the Weak. No real need for that. Evergreen is actually pretty decent in the kind of mirrors, right? Just because it allows you to have some kind of recursive ability. Pulverize, obviously very strong. Sync Blue, also obviously very strong. Spinal Crush has usually been a cut that I've made in the past, right? And then we don't necessarily need this Warmongers. We are going lower on our block 3 density, but we do want to be a little more disruptive, or not disruptive, but like aggressive. I guess aggressive and disruptive, right? And then the last one that I usually cut here is Blink, right? And then the Blizzards as well. So there's a little bit of variance there that you can kind of mess around with on your own. 39 blues is kind of where you want to be. And if we look at this consistency here, right? We have 16, 20, and 18, okay? So we could theoretically cut some of the ice, but you do want to maintain your consistency there. So this one you could also play around with, like I said, cutting the Blizzards and adding something back like the Spinals if you so choose, because they kind of like serve a similar role. And this adds more 3 blocks into your deck. Let's look at the 3 block density here. So your defense power is in general 2.4. If we add back Spinal, just in theory, right? So that increases cutting something like the Blizzard. So we go down to 36, so our consistency can be a little bit lower. We go to these stats, and now our defense is up by 0.15%. It doesn't, or 0.15 in general. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually can make a pretty big difference, right? But again, I think just the way that this deck is constructed, you're gonna want the extra blues just for the consistency's sake. Okay, and then against the control matchup for Oldhim, just in general control. So you want to play, I'm gonna say in general you want Sledge, which is why this is in here for this kind of matchup, right? You want your Sync Belows, you want your Fate for Scenes, you want your Staunchest Ones, you want your Rousing Ancients, okay? So we're a little bit ahead on this, so we could play a little bit more cards. I don't actually hate that idea, right? We could even play some Oasis, but Oasis with Sledge is like not really where I want to be, because you want to use your Tunic counter to be able to play the Sledge effects, right? So I think 61 is probably solid for this. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll now, and it looks like everybody wants to see some Oldhim, so why don't we try it out? Try out some Oldhim, see if we can get some fun games. So Oldhim LL, some classic constructed Living Legend, and let's see if we can get some games. Do like the streamlined nature of the Oldhim list? Exactly. Actually, real quick, I gotta use the restroom. I apologize. So you guys just hang tight. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Luckily they did not leave. I think I want to go first in this style of matchup just to set up a Crown of Seas. Let me tell them good luck, have fun before they leave. And then, so this is kind of like a pseudo aggro matchup, so I think we could probably lean this towards like the Balance of Justice and Tectonic Plating. They do play 3 of a kind, so we might be able to block a little bit more and catch them off guard. If we were to play Rampart, this also is like a little bit of hedging against Drill Shot. So yeah, I think I like this. I think we'll try this out. Okay, so we have turn 1 Endless Winter and then Arsenal Favor Scene, right? So of course Chokeslam is good too. We could Arsenal this and potentially do something else. But I think we just want to go ahead and play Endless Winter just because it is a little bit annoying for them. And they're going to block anyway, so it's fine. If they don't block, then it's going to make their Voltaire a little bit harder to use. Just having the extra block is pretty sweet too. I actually haven't played this matchup in LL as of yet. So there's some of those drill shots that we're seeing, some Winter's Bite Red, that's something to note. They are playing some more of these like Winter's Bite heavy builds, which is pretty sweet. We have Weakest Link. This card doesn't really do a whole lot against them unless they have specifically Rain Razors. But hey, you know, could be good. Okay, so they're activating Voltaire. It's almost always going to be go again into +1. Okay, so this is something that we're not overly concerned with. Ideally, what I want to do is block efficiently using my Paper Scene and whatnot, and then send back Winter's Well, and then have the pummel for later. I think that's kind of the line that I'm going for because it is so early. Set up something with like a Command and Conquer and whatnot, right? We could Ice React here, but they have 2 cards. Maybe on their next attack we could do the Ice React. I'm okay giving this card. Because again, this doesn't really do a whole lot, and we can deny them another Arsenal slot, potentially. This also helps against Lightning Press too, I guess, yeah. It's like an okay time. Okay. +1 on this. Now we can Ice React this here, giving the Paper Scene, and then we can hammer back. So I think that's where I want to lean. See what we get on top. Autumn's Touch. Autumn's Touch is fine, but I think we want to dig a little bit for like Command and Conquer and see if we can find that. And we will Ice React here. Go ahead and get that last card out. They can't Voltaire it in, so now they get no Arsenal, and we're happy with that. And no actual on hit on their bolted shot, right? So no Frostbite noted here, so not that big of a deal, but it is 4, right? And this is more valuable than us using this as a block, right? She probably does run Pulse, if I had to guess, yeah. I guess the older, like the... Were they banned? I don't know if they were banned before. Okay, so we have another Autumn's Touch here. This hand doesn't really do a whole lot. We can give this and then Earth React. I believe that's what I want to do. Just to have a little bit of prevention here, and then we can lean that over into our next piece. Whatever they're doing. And I'm okay with like just blocking out a little bit more. I'm not overly concerned about hitting them with the hammer here. It's not that big of a deal to me. I think it might be okay to block with these 2 cards. Just because there's no ice, right? So we'll just do this. Bide our time. Playing Oldhim the way Oldhim was intended. Yeah, you're right, because it does hit the pulse. That's fair. Yeah, it hits Lightning Press too. Yeah, there's a lot of options with Weakest Link, actually. It's really good to staple a pummel too, right? It's like pretty easy to do so. Fatigue shot is pretty strong. And 2 cards here. How do we want to play this? We can't really pummel the spinal, right? So we could stalagmite and then ice react and then keep this. I think this is probably correct. Let's try this just because they only have the one reason. Well, they have Tunic too. Whatever. This could be a misplay. Yeah, this was wrong. So now they have this, they can pay for that, they can also use their ability. I think it's better just to get the card out. Once you get Ice React can miss into Lexi if Voltaire is available. Yeah, that's something to kind of keep in mind, right? Drill shot, huh? Okay. So drill shot, we can just give 2 cards again and just keep some of our equipment here. It's unfortunate that we blocked with the stalagmite just because of the tunic, right? Okay, more pummels. This is not the most ideal situation, but we can bottom this pummel and maybe block out some other stuff. You have a way to use all 3 resources via shield and rises, yeah. Okay, this is go again. The likelihood that they will be able to play something else is pretty high. So we can give these 2 plus sink below. I think that's probably okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's get rid of you. Lightning Press does hit. There's not really a way for me to play around this. This is fine. They'll get a premeditate target and be able to arsenal. That's a little annoying, but we're gonna continue with this line because we are able to play Weakest Link into Command and Conquer, or not Command and Conquer, into Pummel. Weakest Link into Pummel. It's not really a good way. I guess we could, depending on how they block, just not use it and pitch to this Blood Rot. But I think it's a little more valuable to actually use the Pummel. Okay, they are blocking. Okay, let's just go ahead and burn it. We'll turn on heavy control here so we can kind of see their hand first. Okay, they have nothing of actual merit to their Searing Shot is probably the one they keep. Nope, we will take it. Ooh, 3 of a kind is strong. That was their Ponder. It's pretty crazy. Okay. We're going to try to keep this hand just to set up this pummel. This doesn't actually have a relevant on hit. So we'll just give the hat just in case we do need to block with something else and we have a little more leniency on that, right? Rain Razors was pitched. So they can't play that because of the 3 of kind. That's what they ended up drawing. So this is coming in for 6, right? This doesn't have another on hit either. Spinal Pummel is very strong, you're right. I don't really want to use this. I don't see a lot of benefit to actually doing that. So we'll just take 6 here and go to 24. They could have snapsed here if... No, they couldn't have. I guess if they wanted to, like, bullseye snaps, that is a thing. Alright. Send the Spinal. They could have really messed us up with some more, like, ice potential as well. If they, like, you know, well, I guess they couldn't have done that with 3 of a kind. Yeah, so this was pretty safe. Yeah, so obviously this is a very critical card against them. All of our weakest links are gone, so we don't have to worry about seeing those. I think this is one of the more less impactful cards in this matchup. Endless Winter is very strong. Spinal, Chokeslam, all that good stuff, right? Never a fan of this matchup because Codex felt so brutal. That's true. Codex can be very tough. And the way that we used to play it was with Crown of Seeds and Rampart too, so it was even worse there because it's like, I want to use my Crown of Seeds and Rampart, and then they Codex you. They end up breaking the chain, so you get a little bit of value out of that. Okay, so we will pummel this just to go ahead and use it. Just get max efficiency out of our hand. So they're getting rid of a Lightning Press. Okay. So they are flipping, and that is their turn. So setting up another turn here. Okay. So now we can just make a Surge and Command and Conquer, which they are going to have to respect this for obvious reasons. They have 2 very important cards in their arsenal, I would imagine, right? So this has got to be something like a generic Falcon Wing or something along those lines, or they're going to use their Snapdragon Scalers here, right? So they're getting rid of these 2 cards. We are going to go ahead and arsenal Vapor Scene, and then we can use Pulse of Eisenloft for its ability with Oldhim. Alright, cool. And we got a Endless Winter, which is pretty sweet. Gotta be a little bit careful about burning our Vapor Scene because they will just go ahead and use... yeah, this is kind of annoying, actually. I think we just want to play this Endless. I think it's the most useful. So I think we just want to use Pay with the Spinal. I know that looks kind of bad, but yeah, okay. I'm surprised they didn't flip and give us a Frostbite, because that's usually way better, right? Okay, let's see what they get. Obviously, we're not burning ours. We can also crack Balance here. I think this is probably one of the better slots to crack Balance since this is their second 3 of a kind. Endless Arrow is the card that they have chosen. So let's go ahead and crack this. See what we're working with. There are some positions to maybe use this. Not very many, but I think we can go ahead and burn this and use the Pulse of Eisenloft for the second. And then we can use another armor for Vapor Scene. Okay. Alright, so we go ahead and Earth and Eyes React here. So good pulse use. This isn't going to go back to their hand. That goes to the top of their deck, and now all they get to do is play Bolt and Shot. And we can use Vapor Scene and Arsenal this channel. Yeah, this is good. Alright, ideally we're looking for... I mean, that card's pretty good. The likelihood that we are able to use it might be decently high. We haven't seen another Autumn Touch in a little while. Let's keep it. Alright. They just said that they had an unlucky draw there. Alright. Endless Winter, using Channel Lake Frigid. Alright, big deal, big deal. So this will give them Frostbites on either of these. Yeah, I should have bottomed it with the Pulse maybe, but I think it's, if you bottom it, it would be with the Pulse. That's true. What is the likelihood that this matchup goes that far, though, with us already being at the lower 20s, right? I guess it could be pretty high, depending, because they're already out of 2 3-of-a-kinds. So that's probably correct. What I'm hoping is this will kind of like pseudo time walk them. Right? So if we do draw the Fused Pulse, this is huge game. So that's kind of why I lean to this style of play. But, you know, there is an argument to bottoming it and having it in the pitch stack, right? So. They having a little think. Without counting, you're probably right. That if you see it, you've already won. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, we're not cycling through the deck as quickly because we're playing this more like defensive style, like mid-range game plan, which I think is better into these style of decks than the Crown of Seeds, like Rampart strategy. Because, I mean, everybody gets their broken stuff in this meta, right? So, alright, so this is time walking. Now we get to Arsenal this, and we didn't get the thing. But that's okay, because we have Winter's Grasp to be able to play with our Channel Lake Frigid. And then we get to Arsenal this and do other things, right? We can actually even play this. They got Infecting Shot. Infecting Shot is quite strong. So we could either not block this and take 7 and then play this line, and then with the hopes of being able to find the things that we need to be able to play this Oakenold, or go ahead and give these 2 cards, play the Channel Lake Frigid and pass, which will make their turn a lot more difficult, but I think this makes it like almost non-existent, right? So I'm going to try the no block state here, just because this doesn't have like a super relevant on hit. This could be a little greedy. We are at a theoretical 17, right? So we'll play Channel. We'll play Choke Slam. This is feeling pretty good. I didn't expect this matchup to be like this. I guess we are like very disruptive with this ice stuff, right? So kind of makes sense. Got a lot of tokens. We have so much disease. I remember when they banned Pulse and CC, I was so sad because I started to get better and was super bummed I never got to use it when I was a better player. Yeah, Pulse of Eisenloft ban was a big deal. Just pitch stacking that with your Oakenold was like so easy. It was so easy. You just like had super easy like closing power. Like it was insane. Okay, so their turn is literally probably just gonna be play a thing, pass. Nope, we are going to do this, and we'll Arsenal and Still no Earth, unfortunately. That's okay. So this is a play a thing pass turn. I think we just give one card here. And then play another Chokeslam. We could also just play Hypothermia. That's not like the worst, right? Because we can't keep our channel around. So this does make it a little bit more difficult for them. I guess we can keep this just in case. We can also make a Surge. And then play Hypo. I think that's probably fine. Yeah, that would suck, right? Getting punished by Lexi playing CNC would be pretty crazy. Now let's make a Surge and let's Hypo. Alright, still no things. We can play another channel and just be even more annoying for our opponent, right? Okay, so what is the turn? It's no longer gonna be Command and Conquer and channel. So what's more valuable? Probably Command and Conquer. So let's pitch this Winter's Grasp. Affecting Shot is good. This is +1. So we can either 2-card Command and Conquer or play the channel. I think the Command and Conquer is a little more important. So unfortunately we're going to block with this, and then we'll give up a piece here. They have another, like, thing that's annoying. Yeah, okay. Pitch Blizzard, they can't go again anyway. That's true. That's correct. So we could have had a channel in our deck as opposed to a Blizzard. That's the difference. They might just let this go. I actually expected them to arsenal the last card. They were playing around. Well, I guess they weren't playing around anything. They were just getting rid of the card. Okay. Yeah, we haven't seen any of our Earthquakes. Unfortunate. We could play another Endless Winter. So we can do that off of this. If we give here and here, we give them opportunity to Bullseye Bracers with another 0 cost. I think I'm actually willing to take that line. They have Tunic here, so Stalagmite doesn't really do a whole lot. This is like the more relevant on hit in this case. So I think I'm okay doing this. I don't think we Ice React. Just in case they have something else. We can Ice React the next thing. Yeah, I know, right? Being low rolled by the lack of Earth. I know, there's only 3 Earth. That was kind of like a risk. But I guess now it's just like play the, or block with this, right? And then we can Ice React. Yeah. Just take 4. This also plays around them playing like the other card. Potentially. They could have like played it if it was a Winter's Bite instead. Alright. We're gonna draw Earth and an Ice Square next turn. It's gonna be great. My tech plating has 3 counters on it. Yeah, the main reason to play Oldhim is for Endless Winter and for Ice React, for sure. Just the reacts in general are really good. I like playing Rampart too. I'm a big fan of Rampart. Been a big fan of Rampart for a long time. Now, if they found their other 3 of a kind, which is actually like decently likely, then we can be in for a hurting and they could play around the active ability. Okay, they're just blocking. This is good. Alright, Earth card? Nope. Tunic counter, play the thing? Nope, okay. Alright, this is kind of awkward. What do we do? I think... Oh. Can't do anything with this. We can Winter's Bite, it'll eat their Tunic. Or we can make a Surge. Play Command and Conquer. We're not keeping these sync belows, unfortunately. Because of the inertia token. I think it might be... Man, this is hard. Because like we're playing this no matter what. But do we make a Surge? Like, what's the deal here? I think we can maybe like cut them off of resources potentially if we play this. So let's just do that. It's gonna be Tunic counter, like for sure. Every day of the week, it eats the Tunic counter. Yeah, it did lock them out with the Frostbites if I did that. If I didn't Ice React. But it would just leave an extra card in our hand that we don't really need. And we're trying to keep like an overall consistency. So, okay, they gotta pay 1. So they're using their Sleep Dart, and then we're gonna pay this. It's just an awkward hand. We actually ate a card from their hand, which is pretty sweet. They said that they noticed I was a card guy and they found my stream, but they paused it. So I appreciate that, at least for testing, right? So, okay. So full block here. We're losing that. Now we found our Earth card. Unfortunate. Okay, so what do we do with this? I feel like we're just going to get blown out by our Rain Razors now. Or not a Rain Razors, but the 3 of a kind. They're setting up for a different turn. So we might want to actually keep this card. We can block here and then Earth React. I don't believe that they will Rain Razors. If they do, then I got. But we want to attack with the Winter's Well and Arsenal Vapor Seed. Let's see. I threw a 3 block for the bite. Yeah. Alright. Good old Winter's Well being broken. Let's see if it works. They have Tunic, so it doesn't like actually do anything if they have good resources. But they can't Tunic in 3 of a kind with this at least, which is solid. Okay, they're getting a Frostbite. They don't care about the Frostbite. Okay, Choke Slam is a solid potential play later. Okay, so this is going to come in for 6. I think we just want to try to hammer. We need to present some form of disruption on the following turn. So it's like, because we don't have our Surge floating, this can be a little awkward. And we need to block this because this is the most damage output. So unfortunately, we're kind of just priced into something like this, I believe. Okay. They're keeping their drill shot. No, they're not. They're attacking with drill shot. I could have ice react there to keep the other card out. This does force them to not have an arsenal, which is fine. I'm okay just taking this hit. Ice react would have been better there. Would have saved a little bit of damage. Oh, our Autumn's touches. Nice. Yeah, it's not that broken, it's a smidge broken. Next time I bring Oldhim Cosplay to an event, you gotta try to wield my Winter's Well, Ed. I absolutely will. I absolutely will. I gotta get some pictures with it, man. If you're going to Tampa, hit me up. Affecting shot for 3. Let's just block with our 3 block. Rain Razors. And I guess we'll go ahead and use the Vapor Scene. I'm not huge on this, actually. I'm okay with bottoming this, I think. It could be good they don't have Tunic counter. Maybe we do top it. It's just a guaranteed ice, right? If they don't want to block this entirely, it's fine. There's a flight and I can't bring him across the coast. That's fair. That's fair. Well, next time. Next time we're in California, I'm sure, like, that's the next thing that's going to happen. Terrace Thunder could be very good. Okay, we're probably dead here. This Blizzard might actually get some really good value. Maybe not. They probably have plenty of blues at this stage. They're almost out of deck, though, so we might be able to just kind of, like, fatigue them out, right? So... They have 2 resources, which is kind of annoying. We can either get a card out of their hand, but they'll still be able to fire something back. I think just giving this, even though it's like... This is technically blocking 9 if we block this like this. Is it worth it to use Blizzard? I don't actually think so. Let's just go ahead and ice react, and then if they have it, they have it. They said it was a nice play just now, so... Because of Bullseye, I guess? Yeah, this is better because of Bullseye. For sure. Bolton shot for 5. We have to take this. That's fine. Now we're just defense mode. Pulse is big. I should have let them fire another 1-cost arrow. Yeah. I think we were damned if we do, damned if we don't, because they have a high density of blues. Oh, this is annoying. So the Sleep Tart is coming in. No Crown of Seeds. I guess we'll get a Command and Conquer back. This Pulse of Eisenloft actually just might block. Just because, like, the secondary effect doesn't really do anything. Depends on what they decide to grab. Infecting shot makes sense. So I think in this case we are just dead, unfortunately. Yeah, there's no way to play around this. Alright. Good game. Very solid. I think I could have played that a little bit better, obviously. But all in all, like, it felt pretty good. I like this plan with the balance and the tech plating. Alright, Prism. Oh no. Guess we'll play first. So, we will see if this matchup is as bad as I expect it to be. I expect it to be pretty poor. Yeah, we'll just pass here. We'll go ahead and do this, I think. Glacial isn't bad. Yeah, the Blizzard stops like a hand that has 2 reds. For sure, but it's just kind of unlikely, right? So I guess Command and Conquer is the worst card here. Maybe this. We can Arsenal this. Might be a little bit better. Wait, we'll just play this probably. Might end up just like having to block another Herald anyway. Yep. So we're gonna block another Herald. Bing bang bong. We'll Arsenal the winner's bite. So these do give an opportunity here for them to play like an ALS, which is kind of annoying, but yeah, Haven Crown, you can't do the face-up cards like they're saying. But it's still decent. Like, they don't have an opportunity to react to that, and if they like made the play that they did last turn, then this is actually pretty decent. We don't need all of those blues in our hand anyway. Oh, it's Halo time. Time to slam. Uh-oh. I've been seeing this Coalescence come around a little bit too. It's kind of interesting. So they went ahead. I will go ahead and pay this, I believe. Does that make sense? I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense, actually, to do so. I think we want the extra crown potential. Yeah, we definitely want crown after this, for sure. Okay. So they just attack. I feel like hitting the Merciful is probably right, but I'm not sure. I think it is. I'll go ahead and use Crown just to get rid of this pummel. We'll stop this. If only they drew the card beforehand. Oh, this works too, huh? Forgot about that. We'll go ahead and pay it. There's real no reason not to, because we want to hit this anyway. And we'll go ahead and do this to go ahead and use the resource. Because I want to keep this in my hand if at all possible. Just as like a guaranteed popper, it's a pretty decent play. This card's very good against Prism too, if you can pull it off. Herald of Triumph. Okay, well we're gonna have to pop with the Endless Winter. So there's no opportunity for an Ice Rack there. Shimmers is annoying, for sure. I think we just blow up the Shimmers. I don't know. We could Command and Conquer Pummel here, but the likelihood that they have something in Arsenal that's like pretty easy to get rid of is pretty high. I'm gonna follow my gut, I believe, and kill the Shimmers just in case the game goes a little bit longer. This is pretty early, so pretty open to just doing this. Making dinner, Mr. Reasoning for balanced plating Stalagmite versus Crown, Tunic, and Rampart. Well, they have a lot of ways for you to get value out of your balance, and you need the extra block to be able to play this mid-range game plan, right? So, just made sense to me in the moment. I think that's pretty good. I think that actually, like, is a pretty solid game plan in them. Seeing so many ice cards. Arclight's annoying. For sure. Curious if they play Library in this list. They probably do. Sure. So they attack with this. I could Blizzard here to make sure that they don't play another card, or I can Ice React, right? Which is also decent. I'm okay giving this, I believe. Maybe. We have to attack, so I think that's okay. Because this is a weapon, we actually do get to get this out of their hand. So they were likely to try to play another zero-cost aura, which is annoying for them. Oh, it's an ALS, which is fine too. Okay, well, this is bad for us. So they're gonna get some value out of their Soraya. That's guaranteed. Stalagmite, just to note, I read this just a second ago. It's attacking heroes control, so I don't believe it works on Soraya. So, they attack with Soraya first. We got to keep that in mind. We're likely just using this to kill the Soraya. Alright, so we'll not pop, but block. We're probably going to use these two here for popping, if at all possible. We have to kill this next turn. Okay, they're just passing. What the hell is going on? How weird. Definitely looks solid. I was just making fajitas and missed the reasoning. Yeah. So the thing that I found though is that it was a little awkward not having the extra resources to be able to like pummel and stuff like that. So maybe that is a matchup where you still play Tunic, but you play Balance. I could see that. I feel like that would be pretty decent. Okay, so this play, I'm gonna like throw this in front of it. I don't know if there's a way that they can remove Phantasm. I don't believe so, unless they play like a Semblance or something weird. Okay, they're booking. Okay. Ever played back in Arya, but Frostbite's worked on allies, right? I don't believe so. Yeah, because if you think about Dromai, right? They didn't work on the dragons, I don't think. Okay, we'll just send a Chokeslam. For obvious reasons. So they're not drawing a lot of auras, which is like very good for us, but the storm will come for sure. So in hindsight, killing the Shimmers was probably a good idea. Okay, yeah, they don't care about this. They're gonna leak some damage to be able to play out a board. We'll put the Spinal underneath. Okay, we only have one Pauper. That's kind of bad. Unfortunate. So, okay. We can Tunic Crown of Seeds just to see if we can get another Pauper. I think that's probably correct here, unfortunately. Because we lose the opportunity to do the pummel play. Okay, there's another Pauper. And because this one is the one that, like, it's not blocking a Herald of Triumph, I think we keep this. So we just pop here. They have the card that, like, makes stuff. Okay, so they're not doing that. They're just paying. Makes sense. Shimmers. Okay. So this is decent. So we can play Channel, Pitching. I think other Channel is probably correct. And then we attack with... Which one? I think we want to keep this for our arsenal, maybe. So... do this. Now they have to react if they want to do this without having attacks. Kill the Shimmers. Arsenal the Channel. Alright, so no additional ice, unfortunately. Okay, pop you. Paying for that. Playing Haze Bending. Okay. So, what to do here? I don't think Weakest Link is the answer. I think just keeping the board clear is probably still just the way I want to keep playing until we can get like something really, really advantageous going. We already killed their Soraya and they don't have Halo anymore, so they don't have like the auto just like win the game buttons. Plenty of poppers. We found all the poppers now that all of our ice cards are on the bottom of our deck. Okay, pitching ALS here. Okay, if at all possible, we would like to play the Spinal. Okay, so they're gonna go get a Figment with this card. Which means that we need to go ahead and pay for this Merciful. Which we can use Crown of Seeds as well, which is fine. Okay, Figment of Rebirth. Interesting. Herald of Erudition is put back. Okay. Ending the turn, they're not attacking anymore. Interesting. I think we go ahead and crown, maybe, so we can put the Spinal in Arsenal. Or Chokeslam is fine too. I think Chokeslam is probably the better play. I don't know, Spinal having like another emergency, like, hey, stop the turn button is probably pretty decent. Alright, we will attack this, and I'm pretending as if I'm not just going to crown it away too. So, Frostbite do work on allies because attacking with them uses a weapon ability, hence you need to pay 1 extra to attack with an ally. Okay. You say so. I summon Pot of Greed to draw 3 additional cards from my deck. He's gonna say like, and he's here too, and play a bunch of auras. I'm gonna be like, damn it, this sucks. Genesis is good. That's one part of their combo. If they had another book, they would be able to like do some really jank shit for us. Okay, so keeping Genesis, probably gonna keep around something. ALS would be very good for them here. We found our Rousey engines. Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. So I think we just Tunic Crown on this turn, and then hope to pop. So we can play our Rousey Ancients, or we can put Rousey Ancients there. Hey, look at that. It's pretty neat. Alright, we're starting to get machine gunned down. We want to kill these Spectral Shields with the Rousey Ancients play. That's fine. They're using their resources for Vambrace. That does not hurt my feelings at all. Syrup, Yuki doesn't realize his face down card is actually my expired credit card. Oh boy. Let me know your details of your non-expired credit card. That'd be... Okay. Just taking this stuff. We are taking the Kadachis. Alright. Don't play something annoying, please. That is annoying. Okay. So now I'm just going to kill this Avalon. Two. Show you that. Then we will kill Genesis for obvious reasons. We can keep the Pauper in our hand, I think that's fine. Now that they have their library, they'll be able to snowball a little bit easier too. Triumph. Okay, let's see if they hit. They do not hit. Okay, let's pop with this guy. I like Endless Winter a lot more in this matchup than I do like Spinal and stuff. Because these are weapon activations by technicality, so they would give Frostbites, and this does like kind of like come up the turn, right? Okay, likelihood that they have something else like Passing Mirage, so we can just go rouse the Ancients into the Passing Mirage. This is a slugfest. But we're keeping their board clean, which is like way more than I expected. So. Now they have to kind of think about whether or not they want to keep these spectral shields around. We saw that they pitched an ALS. There's an ALS in the grave. And so there's one floating around somewhere else. Okay, maybe a D-react here. Nope. Okay, we're just clearing the board, which is great. That's what we wanted. Then we'll kill the passing Arsenal, the Endless Winter, and we'll be able to tunic Endless Winter if they don't play an annoying board state. We found our other Rousey Anxious, which was pretty sweet. Our 1-up Tear Asunder. Always love this card. This card is super good in this style of deck too. Because even though it's only 5 on Winter's Will, it's still very strong against these decks that, you know, burn their equipment or have very little block on their equipment in general. And then playing it off of your 4-cost attacks, because you're playing Tunic, is super, super strong for obvious reasons. Okay, we can prevent damage here by getting rid of that. But they can Vambrace, so what is the play here? I think it's honestly just take this. And we can save the Tunic for later, maybe. Because we can't get rid of these cards. The likelihood that we draw something that is... If we draw another red, this is pretty bad, right? So we just take this. Haze Bending is good. Okay, only a 4-card hand there, which is good for us. So we'll attack them. Go ahead and burn some of this. Push a little bit of that advantage. Okay, they're taking this. This makes me want to attack even further. I think we can start to pivot and ignore board. We still have plenty of pummels to play with as well. This card just makes their turn like really, really hard. Okay, they are full blocking here, which is pretty sweet. So now they're not going to get their library because they don't have the cards to pitch. What do they do here? Doesn't have to go again. Can't really play anything. This is just damage, right? So I'll want to play Endless Winter, Revealing Channel. If I was keeping track of my Earth cards, I would know a little bit more. But I think Glacial is probably just the better card to keep anyway. So we just take this. I don't know of any shenanigans they can do. Yeah, okay, that's fair. The Vambrace, sure. I think we just take this too. Yep. Alright, so Endless Winter, targeting them, Revealing Channel like Frigid. Now we have a blue that's also an ice card with our Glacial to be able to play. Again, this card is like super annoying for them, so that's kind of why I'm doing this pivot. Because I think that we can probably get there. Tome of Divinity. Just to draw 2 cards. Okay. Interesting. What are they gonna do? Just block? Get a frostbite. Okay, lots of triggers. We love that. Okay, soul shield. So they gotta pitch another card. Another blue with a soul shield. Sure. Which also gives them another frostbite, which is annoying for them. So they can't play a zero cost aura. They have to pitch to attack. They can attack a couple of times, of course, right? So then we got the pummel with our glacial. This is great. I'm just gonna take this for obvious reasons. Sick. Alright. Attack you. Reveal this. 10 dominate. Now there shouldn't be a way that they can like play around this. They don't have any figments. They don't have like really anything to do. Just pummel. Nice. We got there. Cool. So maybe it's not completely hopeless, but if they do double aura a bunch, it can be very difficult. But the fact that we got a Prism with the deck that only has 3 Goguen cards is pretty sweet. What on hits are we saving Shield and Gloves for? Just in case they play like a passing, like double aura thing, and they play like a Erudition, you can use it for that. And I'm waiting on the shield for like an opportunity to gum up their turn, is the idea. Okay, against Zen, we want to go second. And the idea against Zen is I believe you want to play this mid-range game plan. Like, if you're not playing tech plating into Zen, then what are you playing it for, right? So, taking out all these cards that either aren't really efficient at being played because they're just damage, and then the cards that cost multiple cards to block when they play a bunch of little stuff, and then 2 blocks, right? So doing this, trying to get value out of our Stalagmite. Got to get used to playing Stalagmite a little bit more. This hand is mid as fuck, but we can play Command and Conquer if they pass and just go to Arsenal. We can block with the Sink Below and get rid of like Spinal, and then maybe we draw a blue or something along those lines. There's options here, which I like. We just want to keep this pummel, right? So okay, so here, like I said, we'll just go Command and Conquer and we'll Arsenal this pummel because these are the kind of lines that we're trying to make. Added disruption. Try to force cards out of their hand. If they don't take cards out of their hand, then they're taking damage and losing a card anyway, right? So this is just kind of where we want to be. Yep, so they are blocking that out as we kind of expected. And then now we hope to see like a Chokeslam or a Spinal Crusher is good too. So ideally, I'm not going to block anything that they're doing. Unfortunately, I'm going to block things that they're doing. So I think we just give up the Spinal and the Thunderquake. And then we Ice React their last card. Make it a little bit more annoying for them, right? Now this is just 4 damage, but, you know. If they take this, then we win the turn cycle, right? So that's good. What's the purpose of tech plating in the Zen? I don't see how it is better than having Tunic, Racine, Pummel, 4 cost attacks. Well, just the added block effects. Just having that extra block, and then you want to play a mid-range game plan anyway. You want to be making a surge and playing Spinals and whatnot. Like, that's kind of the goal of this style of play, right? So Harmony of the Hunt, when it attacks, if you pitch a blue card, create a Crouching Tiger to your hand. We don't particularly care about no damage here. So this would be a situation where having the Tunic to be able to play Spinal Pummel would be pretty strong, but it is what it is. We need to block with this Vapor Scene, so no matter what their last attack is, we're going to be using that. It's just 1 damage, not a big deal. Tiger Swipe for 4. This we will use the Vapor Scene on. It's kind of what we were waiting on. We'll bottom that because it's not disruption. Then no last attack, that's fine. Now we get to make a Surge and come in with Spinal. This seems bad for Zen. Yeah, I think this matchup, like the reason to play this deck is because you assumably have a pretty good matchup into Zen. They haven't transcended yet, so they can't just blow their load on their armor just yet. Now we're just trying to set up a decent pummel turn to pull a little bit of tempo, right? This is also pulling tempo because they can't really afford to have this hit unless they're going to play like another Command and Conquer or something. They had a good opening with their Command and Conquer because we were about to Spinal pummel them and make a Surge. So, but once we get the Surge rolling, ideally we're able to keep it going. Alright, Vapor Scene, pummels, not great, not great. So here, I think it's probably just best to use both Vapor Scenes and see if we can dig for something that's decent. That is decent. So we will go ahead and Vapor Scene again. Top that. It's fine. And then we are going to go ahead and pitch this pummel for the Surge. And attack for 4. It's no relevant on hit or anything like that, obviously, but we just don't want the extra res in our hand just in case. We already had the pummel here, so it's just fine. Okay, this works out. Ancestral Harmony. Okay, they did miss, which is good for us. But they still can likely get 3 value out of this card. That this doesn't really do a whole lot, so we'll just take this. Descendant. Do we think they'll use their last card? The likelihood is pretty low. But if it is a Bonds, I do think it's kind of worth using this Stalagmite here. They might be baiting me here, but that's fine. I think this is good enough. No Crown of Seas, at least was it to worry about. Yeah, that's fair. Alright, then we Choke Slam and we have Pummel up too. Yeah, we should just go ahead and do it because we have another Arsenal target. Okay, another Ancestral in the bin. We do like that. Not that it would actually do anything, but Weakest Link is strong here too. There's just a lot of like cards that work out well with playing the Tech Plating, which is the kind of idea on like why to play this. Okay, that was their Arsenal card. So we did kind of get baited on that last turn. But I think it was worth it just in case they did have a Bonds. Now I think it's probably worth it to play Ice React. We'll see what they get here on their bonds target. It's just 100 wins. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we'll pass to reacts. Now they're not going to have an arsenal. We can get rid of... I don't think we want to get rid of anything, actually. We'll just sink below and be happy. My favorite viewer is here. Brett, my favorite viewer. We're just doing old man things. I don't think you ever got the chance to see Oldhim, did you? We're okay taking 2, not a big deal. And because they don't have an arsenal, we'll play this weakest link instead. We get to make a surge, do our thing. So you kind of see this energy of why you're playing tech plating right, is because you have these like these good 2-card plays that then enable your other plays. And then when you do gain tempo, you're able to just like pummel a spinal pretty easily and whatnot. Now, Command & Conquer and Weakest Link pummel plays are worse in this, but you get that extra health, which is kind of a big deal. Better play safe than risky, especially as Guardian. Yeah, generally, it's better to make them more like conservative game lines as Guardian, if at all possible. We're getting the Kasaya here, okay. Nice. More Weakest Link, that's pretty cool. Okay, so they're pitching to do Tiger Taming Cockroach. I think I'm okay having this in my hand. I'll just block with one of these Weakest Links and be okay. And then I can block anything that's a little bit bigger if they decide to go for something along those lines. They still haven't transcended. So there's not really a way for them to use the Traverse the Universe, so this Command & Conquer is going to get some pretty big value here, I believe. And then we can Arsenal the sink below. Okay, so we're getting the Stride of Reprisal. Blowing up a Descendant, which is pretty solid. Okay, this was obvious considering that they blocked with their boots. They're probably going to crack Stubby here too, if I had to guess. Pitching another Art of Wars, so they drew their Art of Wars together, which is kind of bad for them. Yep. Home with Crown of Seeds was nasty, you're right. It was so good. Okay, here I'm pretty happy giving up Balance of Justice just a little bit early so I can have the opportunity to have a little bit more knowledge of what's going on the following turn. Or on the following chain link, I mean. So now they're transcending to do their thing. They're going to go get a Bonds if they don't already have a Bonds in their hand. So obvious plays are obvious. We could have blocked with Civic Steps as well. It wasn't like an absolute guarantee that they were going to have the Bonds. So they have Bonds here. I don't really want to use Civic Steps at this point either. We can use Ice React here now that we drew that. That's pretty sweet. We can sink below and then Ice. Maybe get rid of something like... maybe Autumn's Touch, or I guess Thunderquake is the worst card in the hand. It's just a block 3. Okay, so they got Aspect. I'll go ahead and burn this, just in case they have like another Command and Conquer, right? Do we care about seeing something else? I think it's fine. If we get another ice card, it's pretty big, yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty sweet. And then we can do this. Rid of another card from their hand, kind of snuff this out a little bit. Okay, so they're using their inner chi, makes sense. And now they're going to put a tiger on top of their deck. This is an interaction that this is the first time this has happened so far, so this is interesting. So I can get rid of the tiger. Yeah, that's cool. Well, now I can just Blizzard, which I kind of like. Nice. We blew their turn out. Oh my god, they're asshole. Sorry, brother. That was insane. Okay, so we know they have a tiger, so we will get extra value out of this card. Let's go ahead and use this. That Blizzard was nuts. It was so crazy. I guess they can give us 2 cards in Traverse, and then go get another, like, Transcend card if they block this out entirely, right? So, I can just set up this Endless Winter for next turn, when they actually have to block it. Yeah, that was disgusting. Denying them the value out of these cards. This was 7. That Ice React and Blizzard were bananas. They were, like, actually insane. And now they're in a hard spot because they have that tiger in their hand, maybe. Blocking with Tenacity. That's it. Okay, so we're going to get the draw card and actually have a decision on what we want. Okay, never mind. The tiger is the banish. So they kept the tiger in hand, which is pretty interesting play for them. Okay, so this turn we can block here and then use Ice React, which is pretty solid. So we know the cards in their hand. It's Level, Ancestral, and then the weakest link. No, sorry. Chase the Tail. So we can stop the Chase the Tail here. I think this is fine doing it that way, because it makes their turn just like even more shit, right? We could probably keep this in hand, make another Surge, then Arsenal this. Because I want to get the value out of the Pulse, like the actual block value, because I don't think they're doing anything else. Maybe they're doing the Kakra, so this was probably a bad block, yeah. Alright, so I'm taking 1 damage overall that I shouldn't have. Yeah, that was bad. That's okay though, we'll play the Endless Winter, which can be annoying for them. Because it makes it to where their stubbies actually make a Frostbite, which is bad. So we should be at 23. Now, we died by 1 point. We know why. Well, we still have a counter on Stalagmite. Okay, they're giving, like, the whole thing. Interesting. Okay, another Endless Winter with Pummel. That's insane. Yeah. This is damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, you know? It's like, I don't want to block this because I get a bunch of Frostbites, but I have to block this so I get Frostbites. And now they're just dead, so. Oh my god, unmovable. No way. That's awesome. This Zen is cooking. So they're discarding anyway. They got another Frostbite because they're blocking with Unmovable. That's crazy. Alright, let's pitch this with that. We can just Glacial. Glacial, Arsenal, Channel Lake. That's pretty good. Let me make another Frostbite. That's okay. I'll take this. I could Ice React here. It's probably not a bad idea, but... this does require one card out of them, so it's like, fine. Alright. They have 3 blocks, but they're basically just dead. Alright. So yeah, Oldhim pretty good into... what's its face, right? Into Zen. So pretty happy about that. Alright, let's play the control board. We want to play Crown of Seeds, Tunic, all that good stuff, right? And just do all the things. So we want these cards too. Why don't I have those cards in there? You can just play more cards and you're fine. All these cards are good. Let's do it. Alright, well we can Endless Winter. Hell yeah. Make your turn annoying. Good game, good game. Was that you, Leroy? That was a good showcase. I should have been one... I made one bad block, but I think the play lines are pretty good overall. Staunch just wants to, huh? Okay, getting a Frostbite, so you don't care because you're going to Sledge. Makes sense. Getting more Frostbites on your next turn, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so I think I'm probably okay just using this Sink Below, getting rid of this Staunch and trying to play this Glacial. I think that's usually a little bit better. Blue? Not a blue. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. I was just saying GG, that was cool to see. Good deal. Alright, we'll just play this Endless Winter, just because it's the more efficient play line. Oh, you did what you could? Okay, so that was Tyler. Gotcha. Alright, so this is another D-React. Yeah, blue Staunch. Sure. Okay, so they can't actually Sledge here. They have to do something else. I think here we can Winner's Bite. See what they do. Do they pitch a blue? If they do, then we won't a Winner's Bite again. We can... We're gonna Arsenal this, for sure, right? Or we could... Actually, I think we keep this in our hand, because we can get rid of this. So... pitch this, because the intent is I'm gonna be able to Crown of Seeds off of Tunic next turn. This also represents Pummel to an extent. So they're Staunching here. Okay, so that Winner's Bite, like, did actually nothing. Just kind of forced their hand, in a way. We'll Arsenal this, so we can Tunic. Do we even want a Tunic now? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so now we have options. So we can go Endless Winter Fused again. I think that's probably fine still. And we can get rid of this Vapor Scene here. We're gonna drop the Banish card one. This card is fine on top, actually. Maybe. Because we kind of want to pitch stack this with our CNCs, maybe, or not our CNCs, our pummels. So maybe we do want to bottom this just in case. It's not going to be next to it. Let's keep it on top just in case we can like actually have the opportunity to put it next to a pummel with groundnut seeds. So now we can just go here, pitch, pitch, show you that. So it's annoying blocks. Okay, so another staunch response is coming down. Another red one, or maybe a turn timber. Okay, not. They can break it with Tunic too. They decide to block with a blue staunch. Okay, just a vapor scene. The Ice React Blizzard was disgusting, and I loved it. Reminded me of how simpler times were. Sure. Yeah, it was sweet, man. That was a good turn. Like the amount of value that play made was actually insane. Okay, this hand is fine-ish. We'll probably block with the chokeslam and the spinal, because they're likely just a sledge or nothing, I guess. Okay. I guess we'll just play. We'll Crown of Seas aggressively just in case we can find like a blue for this. Now I think we can overpitch the chokeslam to play the spinal and then arsenal the Command and Conquer. Yeah, they're playing very, very defensively right now. I play some of these cards too, or at least the Battle Hardened top 8 list plays some of these cards, but yeah, so here's another staunch, most likely. Blue staunch. Peace of mind. Okay, yeah, this is very, very defensive. Put that there because there's an ice card on the bottom. Alright, this hand is actually pretty sweet. I think it's actually correct, probably, to just arsenal this Rousey Ancients. So I want to go ahead and block with these cards and keep the 8 there. Then we'll Crown of Seas and use Tunic if we draw a red, which is fine. But we're going to arsenal this for sure. And now we get to do this. This is good. Now the Ice Reactors, that can be kind of annoying. They have a really good opportunity to Ice React here if they take it, because they can go block with 2 cards, Ice React, and then sledge with 1 card because of the Tunic. So it's actually pretty solid play if they do something like that. Push me a little bit more behind, but I can make the same play next turn and try to arsenal again. Okay, they are not taking that line. Okay, they are taking that line. And they revealed, I assume, we'll see what the card is. It's probably blue Autumn's Touch. Grave Keeping. Interesting. Okay, so there's actually a line here I think we might want to take. I don't want to use my Rousey Ancients if I can help it, but they're going to be next to each other anyway, so it's actually pretty like low EV to do that. So I think if we go here and then Earth React, we still keep a card in our deck, take a little bit less damage, and then we can sledge and then arsenal the pummel. This looks kind of weird. It's actually worse on value, but like if it comes to a late game state, I'm gonna want these extra cards. These Earth cards are gonna be pretty important. Good old Guardian Mirror swinging hammers back and forth. Yeah, this is actually a pretty like skillful matchup. Being able to extract as much value as you can back to back from your opponent, like it's pretty interesting for sure. Only guess is why take the Phoenix Flame out of the yard. Oh, you're talking about the Grave Keeping. Yeah, I don't know. kind of a weird card. Turn Timber. They don't have to reveal anything. No Ice React, that's good. So we get the Arsenal, the Pummel. Now we get to make a Pummel play. I actually do think it might be worth just taking a little bit of damage for this play. They've used 2 Turn Timbers. They're pitching a Turn Timber. I think the likelihood that they have another one is pretty low. And we're kind of priced into this line anyway because we have the Pummel. We could Crown of Seeds and do some other stuff, but we don't have like Tunic Sledge online, so I think this is probably just fine. This could bait an Ice React out of them as well, which could be good for Briar. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not used to seeing that card. You saw I had to read it, so. We'll play the 1 from hand, just so we don't get Ice Reacted out. So no matter what, they are, even if they like kick their Staunch, right? Or block out most of this, they won't be able to sledge us next turn. Yeah. So that's what they're doing. They're just preventing as much as they can, taking 1, discarding this last card. Unless it's a card that they can Earth React or whatever with. Or yeah, just react in general. That's good. Alright, so Rainbow Staunch, the deck, is what we're playing against. They're way ahead on cards, too. They just have a lot more cards in general. That's the problem. Well, we drew a really defensive hand. This is kind of unfortunate, but that's okay. Maybe we keep this Pulse in hand for if we draw the Okanold. I'll try for that. We can also just use it for the React. Okay, yep. Now they get the Tunic Sledge. They so choose. Okay, we did draw the Okanold, so this is actually pretty solid. We just need to get a blue. So we're going to try to sink away this Chokeslam to try to get a better blue. Nice. We got the blue, and now we can even pummel the Okanold, which is pretty sweet. The likelihood that this actually hits, probably low, but we had the pummel to try to force it out. Last ditch effort, okay. So they are full committed to this game plan. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and pummel. It's only +3, but it gets every card out of their hand, which is pretty good. Ordering doesn't really matter on this kind of stuff. Discarding Heart of Findle. Yeah, that's probably fine. I actually like the line of maybe playing Spinal here, just to get some more cards out of them. But what does that do for us? We take 3 damage, we can block back and send back. Keep the Vapor Seam for something else. So if we take the Tunic line, then we get to play this. I think I'm going to do that. I'm not feeling too hot about this matchup, just because they have so much more efficiency than us. But their deck is not beating, like, Zens or anything in general, so that's on them. Okay, preventing some damage and making some plays like we were doing just to take some of the efficiency out, sure. Okay, and then do nothing. That's good. That's good. We do like it when they do nothing. Blizzard looks kind of weird in this matchup, obviously, but like it's not that bad because of their rousing ancients. This is probably gonna get a kick to staunch if I had to guess. Yeah. Now they're gonna be able to clap back with their sledge, which is like their general game plan at this stage. I think we just use Vapor Scene here. And then the Earth reacts. Okay, bottoming that. It definitely feels like they wanted to hate specifically Starvo. That's fair. I mean, Starvo is good, but like, is it that good? Is it worth like all this extra hate against Starvo, which like these other decks are clapping anyway? Like Zen is insane. Lexi is still good. Yeah, it's very ready for the mirror for obvious reasons, right? And they're Oasising as well. At least they're not gaining life off of their Oasis, right? They're taking 1 damage here, which is sweet. We have Command to Conquer. And the Pummel. So we can block, do our thing. There's no shot there on Pummel either, so we don't really have to play around that stuff. But we do this. This is our last Pummel. This is our only thing that we really want to pummel in the first place anyway. So they're going to Crown of Seeds away, but this is still going to rip a card out of their hand. So all they're going to be doing is sledging. No, they can't even sledge because they have to pitch the card, right? Oh, okay. Using Remembrance. Interesting. So what do they get with Remembrance? I guess... yeah, Buckle, Last Ditch, and Channel. Sure. 3 damage over the top. Scare a lot of people. Or scar a lot of people. Yeah. You are correct. Starvo did do the Starvo things, didn't he? Alright, so this is a risk, obviously. Like, if they Ice React us here, then it's not the best. But we can just Arsenal Spinal, I suppose. That's fine, just guarantee a blue on top. Yeah. So good value from them, but they aren't doing anything else. They're setting up for another play. I'm just gonna send the big things while I can. Another Gravekeeping. Peace of Mind. So only taking 2 makes sense. That our own staunch response. Is that worth it? I don't believe so. We haven't seen really anything else from them, like big attacks wise. So I mean, we could play this and then play that. Is that good enough? I'm gonna Crown of Seeds with the intention to play Terra Sunder on my hammer. Okay. We'll just play the Glacial then. Do we want the Glacial? We got a Tunic here. Yeah. It's just the best math. Again, we haven't seen like any other of these big attacks, so like the Staunch is just like whatever. Probably D-React, yep. So pretty mid. They get to swing back 6. So they're extracting huge value out of that. Honestly, we can like arsenal this channel and be fine. These Winter's Bites aren't amazing against them, just because they do have so many of these 2-costed reacts. So we'll stop playing those. Lots of Crown of Seeding. They're leaking damage every single time they do it. Well, not every time, not this time. Liam was also out there farming Zen and Chain with this style of deck. What the heck is going on? Oh, did he ice react me? I guess he did. I wasn't even paying attention, I was looking at the other side. Alright, we'll get these 2 cards. Alright, back to sledge time. Ah, gotcha. Getting hard away from them is also pretty huge. It can be. I'm not uber convinced about it yet, but I think we're at a stage where it's like we just kind of have to play as efficiently as possible. So I'm just gonna keep sledging until I can use Tunic for a better opportunity. They have Terra Sunders. We have block cards, so. Okay, this does send Rouse the Ancients. I think this is a fine enough opportunity to use it. Because this plays around the Ice React as well, because we have the Tunic. Interesting. Okay. So, obviously I will pay. This means that I will likely be Ice Reacted anyway. We are going to leak a little bit of damage though, which is pretty cool. Okay, so if we pay 2, we have 2 floating, we can't do it. No. We'll just keep it for the arsenal. And then we can aggressively Tunic next turn. Okay, this is still kind of mid, but it's fine. We can arsenal this and have this ready for their sledge. Never yield. I don't really want that card here. We can Earth reacts. Just gonna sledge. Command and Conquer doesn't really do anything. That's fine. Fun and invigorating gameplay right here, guys. I'm okay, like, trying to arsenal this just because it's a dominate, right? It's, like, fine. Okay, they drew a pretty doo-doo hand. So they can't really do anything. Remembrance, yeah. Alright, we're probably cooked here because of the remembrance. Okay, keeping this card. That. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. Okay. Let's do that. I don't really need an arsenal. I do need the blues. I'm going to play the spinal. Playing out the spinals instead of like pitching them for sledge is generally a little bit better at this spot just because it gets more cards out of them. Still not getting value out of their Oasis, which is sweet. These Terra Centers are going to be gross though. Okay, actually no fuse here, so they... Well, it doesn't matter. They're full blocking anyway. Okay, we have Tear Sledge. I think we have to arsenal this. So that means I need to get rid of these cards. So you also play Fatigue Bread. I think he's a Yoji player. Older than to run something that auto loses Prism, Zen, Chain, Lexi, and Phi like that. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. I think we just need this to be like slapped onto something bigger. Since this is like our only one, right? So. Okay, clean-ish Oasis. They go to 19 with us. Okay, that's fine. Not a great opportunity. I do want to go ahead and arsenal this, so I think I will take a little bit of damage to make that happen. We are losing one of our prime targets of slapping that on there, but we also have one more glacial, I believe. So we can try to do that for that. I think taking this 3 is okay. Yep. So they're getting good ice reacts off here. I think we just give another card. We might have to just set it up another time. Okay, so now we get to ice react here, which is great. Ooh, they almost blocked with the earth. That's pretty big. Oh, are they taking it? Oh, they're not. Okay. Sure. I don't really want this card. So our only real out is setting up that Terra Sunder play I was talking about earlier. We have to take a little bit of damage here just to make these lines, as to not get fatigued. Maybe we play Oldhim, we just like have to play a little bit more on cards because they can go like super long. Just play the whole shebang. So okay, we're doing this back and forth here. Losing Macho is a little annoying, but I think it's fine. Get rid of their card in hand. And then Sledge. Yeah, there's like a really fine balance to this style of matchup. So we're getting rid of a Terrace Under here too, which is pretty sweet. So there's our Terrace Under that we know about. Now we're getting to our 2 blocks, which is kind of mid. But I think we can go ahead and get rid of this card. This card doesn't really do anything. We can do this. Or we can just Earth React and then attack like that. Yeah, let's do that. We need to get this Terror online. It's like super important. We could potentially do something along those lines, like this Sledge could just be like a different card. Yeah, it's so annoying. Oh, I pitched the wrong card anyway, whatever. Oh. Like, just pass. What do we do here? This doesn't do anything for us. This is actually actively bad, but by playing it, this is also pretty poor. I think we just have to like block with this most likely, or arsenal it. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't my list, so I'm just playing it. Sledge seems like it's mainly just for this matchup. I'll arsenal this one. Lots of bottom touches. Now we're gonna get to this game state where it's like kind of boring. Probably should have blocked the channel there. That way they ice react this, we can get it on top. There's nothing other than this versus Crown of Seas decks. That's the only slot you need to find, that's true. Yeah, for Vambrace, finding a potential slot might be okay. Vambrace was like actually a mirror killer. It was super strong. Okay. I think we do just give this here. We've done pretty good on deck economy. I think I've been able to be very efficient compared to my opponent. Maybe with Vambrace, this would have made this a lot better. Yeah, I believe it would have been a lot better. Because Vambrace gives you so many opportunities, right? And you can like combat their ice react pretty easily. You can also one card 4 very efficiently. So if there was a world where I would make one change, I think I would cut Tech Plating and play Vambrace specifically for Crown of Seeds decks. I think that would be pretty good. And then you play Anathos. Well, actually, the downside to Anothos is you don't really have a bunch of... Yeah, that's the problem, is because of the ice cards that we're playing. It's pretty mid, right? Like, you can't pump it up to 6 very easily. I don't think there's anywhere else where I get this up. I think the writing is on the wall, fellas. Okay, pulse is there, so that's good to know. So I think we need to arsenal this. We're probably getting ice reacted, but whatever. So if we play this and then we play that, that's pretty strong. Alright, it's time to give away some gauntlets. Paper scene, staunch, okay. So we've seen all this stuff. They might have another react, but this is the only time we have. We needed this to be on one of the red glacials. I forgot that I played that one too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, and then another Earth react. Okay, they have another D react. Okay, no, it's hitting. Sick, bro. Nice. We're still up behind on cards, and we have a bunch of no blocks in our hand, but... okay. So, I think we just have to keep this. Keep on sledging. So they're about to start taking a bunch of damage here, maybe. Okay, full block there. Oh, Remembrance. No, a third one. So annoying. That's okay. Last ditch. So we are cooked. Cooked. We'll keep this blizzard just in case they like try to last ditch us now. Another thing is I probably could have saved the pummels for later in the game. I think that was probably a game losing situation. Waiting until they use most of their defense reactions, right? So they have Tunic up. It's probably pretty likely that we are boned. Because this is probably last ditch effort into hammer here is the intent. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so they're arsenaling the other one. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I think we need to keep this. So how do we do this? Okay, if we do this, and then we use some more cards, I think we will end up seeing it, potentially. Then we use our tunic to get the blizzard. Yeah, so we'll end up drawing it. Drawing the pulse is what I'm talking about. And then we'll have the blizzard in Arsenal. For their like last ditch play. Now I don't believe, yeah, we can't really do anything about this. Actually, does that blow us out? Hold on. No, it doesn't. Because the pulse is the 4th card. Interesting. They're not doing it. We just burn this now then. Get rid of these two. I think deck economy is probably a little more advantageous here. I should have pitched this. What's that do? Oh, they have cards in the deck. You're right, you're right. I'm forgetting how that card works. Yep, it's time. Okay, so let's do the math, alright? So they have last ditch, and then another blue. So if we pulse, pitching this, blizzard, and then we block with another card, we might get out of it. But we probably die just a Sledgewing after. Yeah, but then they get the last ditch next turn too. Then we have 3 cards and we're done. So, interesting game. I think there were some plays that could have been made to like actually have a winning shot, but this deck seemed like very much tailored to beating me. So, good game. That was a grind. Yeah, double last. That's it. We still did okay on deck economy, though. I'm actually surprised. So, cool. Well, that's it for Oldhim today. I actually had a good amount of fun. It was, it took a while, but, you know, it was a good time, for sure. I'll post these lists with the sideboard configuration that I played, and you guys can test out yourself. So, yeah. Well, let me know what you guys want to see next week. We might go back to the LL. And maybe do some Starvo or something like that, just to get a little more variety, right? So hopefully you enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time, all right? Bye!